Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the From the Desk of the Deans podcast with Mr. Dave West, Mr. Clarence Brown, and yours truly, Trey Brown. We're here to have some exciting conversation this week. It's shaping up to be a real exciting topic. We've been talking about it already and said, let's cut the cameras on and let's figure this out. Uh, you know, so everybody can get that side of it too. So we're gonna have some exciting conversation of us trying to bring our minds together and our ideas and meld our minds around this topic. But before you get to this episode, if you missed our last one, episode 4, Closed Mouths Don't Get Fed. That was a great podcast. Make sure you go and check that out. We had a special guest, and we really had a good episode for you guys. So make sure you go check that out. And then don't forget, swing back around for episode 5. And the title of this episode is Your Network is Your Net Worth. Your network is your net worth. And we're about to have a conversation just to see what does that mean to all of us individually and see what nuggets and what good conversation we can pull from that. So without further ado, I think we should just get into it.
Okay.
I want to go from a standpoint of maybe each of us talks about when we saw this title and we were workshopping this title of your network is your net worth, what was the thought that came to mind for each of us? So anybody can hop in there.
All right. Okay. I'll start. I was going. You know what? Uh, this is a good topic, and what popped out for me initially was comparing how you see value in money and how you do investments, how you have assets, you have liabilities, and that if you think about what's all involved in that whole arena, we could really find value in looking at who we have in our network the same way and how we go about building what we have in our network the same way. And so we invest in people, we spend time in people. It's not a one-way thing. We're putting something in, but if we put it into the right set of folks, we get something out of it as well. So that's one area. I'm gonna stop right there. I can go on and on for this one, man.
Um, for me, I think I looked at it from a perspective of you have a lot of people that don't feel like they are as valuable as others. Comparison kills, right? And maybe I don't have as much money as somebody else have. Maybe I don't have the same job that somebody has. I'm not in the same, neighborhood as other people because they look at these things that they really have little control over from the outset as setting their value and not really thinking about the fact that it's the people that you know that really can help you change your whole outlook on life, your whole station in life. And it makes me think about my mentor, Gil Knowles. He used to say, people always say, was is not what you know, is who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he always added another caveat to that. They say it's not who you know, it's who you know that's willing to help because you
Yeah.
know a lot of people, but if not, when they're not willing to help you, then it doesn't do you any good. And so when I start looking at like what my net worth means, it's like almost like a replacement value for money, almost like a replacement value for a station in life. It's like if I have a strong enough network, then it propels me to where I really want to be in life financially, class wise, even job wise, if I have a strong enough network.
And the way that I was looking at it, and I think what I'm really enjoying from this conversation and from both the perspectives that you guys are bringing in was this idea of almost like money and your net worth really being like say a metaphor for the situation. Because when I was thinking about your network being your net worth, what was your network being your net worth mean? I was really looking at that work part of it,
Mm.
your network. And so I was really what I was. kind of thinking when I was, doing my research and reading up and figuring some things out for this conversation was, okay, so what is the work that you are putting in to
Mm.
build up your net worth? What are you doing to put yourself in the right position to meet the right people? Are you prepared to, talk about yourself? Are you prepared to listen to others? Are you prepared to make connections? And so, almost with that, you eat what you kill mentality
Mm.
with you got to go out and you got to make the dollar. Like, how are you going out to really build your network is the way that I was looking at it when we were bringing up this topic of discussion. So I like the intersection that was there. I think it's a
Okay.
lot of room to play with, a lot of places we can go with conversation. But what are your thoughts?
I agree. Oh,
No,
I
go ahead. Go
agree.
ahead. Go ahead.
I agree with you saying, and it just it put me in the mind because I like to tell people, your network is a net that works. You're building a net that works, so that when you fall, there's somebody there to support you or to catch you. And so, you got to put in work. You don't want a weak net. Because if you got a weak net, it's not going to do you any good. And so, that perspective that you just brought in about what kind of work are you putting in, that
Yeah.
makes all the sense in the world. I mean, are you really putting in the work to have an established network?
Yep. Yep. I agree. Everything I was going to say was already said. So I don't, you put in the work, you invest the work, and you put in an investment, and your return is your worth. You put in the work, you get the worth. Is that
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You
Yeah.
put in the work,
And
you get your work.
I really like this visual. I do because even just looking at it, kind of like what you were saying, Mr. Dave, with this idea of, okay, you have to look at your net worth. You have to look at your network for that representation and that idea of, okay, what are my assets? What are my
Mhm.
liabilities? And you can use, all of these perspectives to go into that. Okay, how am I looking to go gain assets? What are the conversations I'm having to determine if something's an asset or a liability? How do I find myself in the right places? And so I really do like this visual.
Mhm.
Um, my question would be, so if we were to strip it back and we were to start from step one, okay, how am I building up this, I guess this bank account of network, this bank account of net worth? Where would you start from?
Let me throw something out. And this may be a part of where we start from. As a matter of fact, I think it would be. As you start talking about building assets, um, one of the things that I heard, I guess, as I started delving into um, investing, one of the things that the financial advisor said to me was, suitability matters, right? Suitability matters. And this thing is like, where do you eat at? Start investing in places where you eat at.
Mhm.
What do you shop at? Start investing in places where you shop at. And so I say that from the perspective because I know a lot of times I hear people say it just feels disingenuous when you going out to network, right? Like you're going out trying to get something from somebody. And so when I think about suitability that I just put out and you saying like, what's that first step? It's like you want to make sure that you bring as much value to the relationship as you're seeking to gain from the relationship. And so it's not about going out there and simply trying to find out how much money I can put in my bank account, right? It's actually, I'm investing my time and what's the return on the investment of my time? It's not, I'm giving, and because I'm giving, I'll get something in return, not because I'm just going out there like cherry picking or Easter egg hunting or whatever. It really start by trying to figure out what am I trying to accomplish, what value do I bring to whomever I think I might want to interface with, and then how do I make the best out of it. So I think figuring out suitability would be one of the things I would start with.
I like that. I also I think you know a couple things I want to share. One is practice your product or rehearse your product. Learn how to have the conversation about who you are and what you bring to the table. And because it's important that you only get a few seconds sometimes. How are you going to impact that encounter with that person that you network with? And so know how to represent yourself, but then be intentional about putting yourself in the way of people, and practice it. They got this, what's this thing, the elevator speech, all those different tools that teach you how to represent yourself. But I have this concept called engage in your future environment and new network. So, that's looking to the environment that you aspire to be in and try to determine who's in there, and now how can I connect, and when I come and connect, what is it that I'm going to be bringing into that conversation, because it's, you said something earlier, we said something about, it's not just uh what is it we say, it's not just who you know, is what you know,
Who you know is willing to help.
who you know is willing to help. And I look at it also as who is, it's what people know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You come into a conversation and you start, sharing what it is, now that person knows what you know. And you just never know where that's going to go in terms of opportunities, for you to grow from that network experience.
So networking, well, I would never even say I'm not perfect at networking now either. But especially when I was younger, growing up, this idea of networking and this idea of going and putting myself out there and identifying people was, I guess I would say I was apprehensive to say the least.
Mm.
It seemed like a very daunting task of, okay, almost like I'm shopping myself around when I'm going out to these places. And I like that idea of, or that term you used of suitability. Um, kind of, I feel like that word kind of takes the pressure off of it. And it does that for me in this way. So a great lesson that I learned, especially when I was in high school and I was getting ready, I was visiting schools and I was getting ready for applications and all those kind of things. And so a big part of that is you have to be ready for, you have to have your recommendation letters. And so the lesson that it was for me was, make sure that you have a relationship with someone before you go and you ask them to do something for you, right? And I think that is a good little summary of that first step of networking. It's not always about just, okay, oh, this is what I do, this is what you do. Okay, good. I'll call on you at some point or whatever. Like it's really about forming some kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And so when you are looking to go in, form some kind of relationship with someone, that's not just a one-way street. You're not going, you're talking to this person so that they can just, oh, I know I'm gonna call on you one day.
Yeah.
You also want them to feel like they might be able to call on you as
Absolutely.
well. It's really going and figuring out, okay, what's this person about? How can I share what I'm about? So no, like you were saying, Mr. Dave, like know what you are about, know what you do, not just for the sake of proving to this person that you're worth having a conversation with, but really just having that genuine energy of, okay, how can we connect some dots? You
Mhm.
know, maybe I don't feel like I can do something for you, but if we have a conversation, I might find out that I can. And so you have to be open to that side of it as well when you're looking at going in and starting this networking relationship with someone.
I am. It's interesting because and it really plays into what I was going to say before. It's I remember I used to go to these networking events and people would walk up and be like, well, what business are you in? And I'm like, your business? What do you do? Right? That was my standard answer. Your business? What do you do? And it really is the way I look at a network. It's about the plug. I mean, I don't know if they still call things the plug, but you're a plug for people. And so, while you're meeting somebody, and this is what helps me. I'll say this is what helped me when I meet somebody. As I'm talking to them and they're sharing themselves and what they are, I'm trying to figure out, is there somebody behind me that can utilize their services, or is there somebody that can is behind me that I can connect them with? Because I think that's the value of the network, right? The value of the network is not me. The value of the network is what plug I am and what plug this person is. And so essentially If it's a give and take relationship, it's the same thing. As they're talking to me, we may have no use for each other immediately whatsoever. But you say you do podcasts? Oh, wait a minute. I know somebody that's trying to start a podcast. Would you be willing to talk to them? That's networking. And then in turn, this, oh, you like X, Y, and Z? Man, I just met somebody the other day who was looking for what you provide. Would you be okay if I connect you? That's what networking is all about. And it really does take the pressure off when you have in your mind that I'm not necessarily there to get something for me. I'm there openly sharing because you know what? In an open sharing environment, there may be something I can help somebody with, or something that they can help somebody I know with, or something, and that, so a network, and I keep wanting to do this, a network, it's not this, it's intertwined. And so you're trying to get a relationship. I guess I shouldn't have done it in my face, but trying to get a relationship that's intertwined, and a strong relationship that's intertwined, that next time you don't have to come through me. I've already introduced you to them. You can go straight to them. And so that's the way I see it.
If I can, I guess say put a shameless plug in. I did some writing on that once, and I called it "Listen for Links to Leverage."
Mm-hmm.
So you want to practice good listening skills, but it's not just to see what you can get, but it's to see where you can make further connections, and bring people together, like you said. And so, yeah, I love that. I love that.
And
I love
and
it.
be- and believe it or not, I mean, and we're talking here about net worth, and we want everybody to be able to improve their net worth. And so, even having this conversation about how to start networking and the reason behind networking and how networking can be used to everybody's advantage, it is about bringing to the community. Hey, if you start looking at it from this perspective, whereby before you listen to this podcast, you might have thought your net worth was in the bottom 15 percentile. Now you may just be in the middle 30, just based upon, the people that you have in your network, or the people that that you never even valued as a part of your network.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that I liked that it's not just about the one-to-one connection. It's about bringing like this whole group, this building this whole community, the net. Is about building all of that because another part of that hump to get over, at least that it was for me, was it's not always networking up. It's not always going to someone and asking them to do something for you, but also how do you interact with your peers?
Mm-hmm.
How do you connect someone that, you have a friend and you meet someone else? How do you connect the people that are at your level? How are you building this network at your level so that you all can rise up together as well? It's not
Mm-hmm.
always about you just going out and finding that opportunity that, oh, this is going to be my big break because I met this person. There's elements of that too, and I definitely can speak on that some as well. But it's this idea of always being practice of it, always being practice. And so it's not just about when you're going to these events and say you're looking for a job, or you're going to these events and you're looking for an opportunity. It's even in the day to day of, your friend and you know what that person's about. You know what they're trying to do. You know what their goals are. So if you just run into someone, you're like, oh, like you said, listening for links, of leverage. What did you
To
call it?
leverage. Let's
To
links to
leverage.
leverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listening for links to leverage, like even just making those small connections, that's your practice right there. It doesn't always
Mm-hmm.
have to be immediately about you.
Right.
And rarely should
Um,
it be.
yeah, definitely. And it's always cool to see. I mean, I just think about some of the friendships that I have now that came from a connection from a different friend. And
Mhm.
like you said, it's not okay. Now you've met this person. You don't have to go through me to talk to this person now. Just that shameless connection of people. And I find that if you're doing that and you are helping other people, people have no issue. They even want to find ways to connect you as well. And so I think that's a great concept.
Yeah. One thing I want to share. I can't. This is it involves a lot of what we talked about, but it's a personal story of years ago. There's a couple of them, but I only talk about one. Um, I was uh, I was told by this person, "Hey, I think you should try to meet this person." I'm like, "Okay, okay." I didn't know who the person was, and the person that referred me didn't give me the reason. They just said you should meet this person. So I was in one of those modes of I don't know if I want to take the time to do this. I don't know who they are, but then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and be intentional and try to meet that person. So then I went to meet the person. I reached out to him and that the person who referred me also talked to them and said, "Hey, I think you should meet Dave West." Didn't say why or anything. So I went on and made that move, and we reached out. Long story short, we met at a coffee shop, and so we're talking, just trying to get to know each other and figure out what it is, I'm supposed to be gaining from this or learning from this. And then I finally asked, I said, well, how do you know that person? And I was told, I don't know the person. They just told me I should meet you. And I said, wow, I do know the person, but they didn't tell me why I should meet you. So we kept talking, kept talking. We realized there was a lot we had in common. And then the path crossed. I said, this person happened to have an interest of meeting people right where they are and helping them develop, helping them with workforce development and what have you. And so this was 8 years ago. And because of that move, because of that network, I came on board as joined that person's company and then help that person grow a company, help that person close a company, start a new company. And so I'm in a role today because of that network, and it was just something that happened. And then I got another story too, but I'm not gonna. I don't know if we got time, but it's a similar story. But it all happened because the network was working, and there was something that I was able to bring to the table, receive from the table, help that person grow. They helped me grow. We grew together. We helped other people grow. But it's all about how that network worked. Does that make sense?
It does. And I got a story I want to tell about you, Dave, but it's
Okay.
a story, it's a cautionary tale. And
Okay.
so before we go to the cautionary tale, I mean, if we want to move somewhere else in here, Trey, let's move in it. But I still got a cautionary tale that I want to tell about Dave that has something to do with networking.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
kind
don't know
of
how to get ready for that one.
right. So it's a
Run or
cautionary tale about you.
Well, I'll put it like this. So if, as a part of this, we really do want to encourage people to come out of their shell and
yeah.
network, right? And so this cautionary tale, it can lead us in that direction. So how about if I just go ahead and throw it out there?
You
So
Okay.
can go
not too
ahead.
long ago, I was told about an event where Mr. Dave West and his bride went to celebrate their anniversary. And so they went to this place wanting to be alone. Wanting to be alone. So they was on a cruise, right? And so when they
Okay.
got to the dining room, they wanted to sit by themselves. They wanted to be off to themselves. But I guess the maitre d' or whoever said, well, you can try this again tomorrow, but as for tonight, because everything is already set, I need you to go sit at this table. And so they went and sat at this table with another couple who was there. And conversations ensued. And I don't know where this relationship is now, but I got the story about it because it was like I'm apprehensive about going to sit over here because I just want to be with my bride. But we sat down and we started talking and we realized we had all of this stuff in common.
Yeah.
And then even after the cruise, we talking to each other after the cruise. And so the reason why I say it's a cautionary tale is because a lot of times as individuals, we are reluctant to enter into spaces that have already been created for us,
Right.
right? They already
Right.
been created for us. We just didn't know they were created for us. And so we reluctant about stepping in. But when we let down our guard and we start being resistant and we go ahead and participate in this divine providence moment,
There you go.
then great things can happen. Great things can happen. But if we're fearful, if we're guarded, if we don't open our eyes or, open up our vantage point to see what great things can happen, we miss out on a lot of great things.
I like that. I like that. I like that story too. And we still connect. We still
There it
connect.
is. They still connect. I didn't even want to sit there at the table with them. Like, man, we really like
And you know
what a
what? They were feeling the same way. They're like, oh man, I guess we got to sit here. Hopefully we can have this night to ourselves. And then we came.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
It
So
turned out to be good.
Oh, I love that story as well. And I do, there's something that you said in there, and I kind of want to use it to segue into this this side of the conversation or this part of the topic that I feel like we have to at least touch on it a little bit. Um, because we've now talked about this peer-to-peer connection. We've talked about this connecting other people, really building this net where you're at, being in this mentality of always being prepared to do it. But you said this apprehension to stepping into divine providence.
Mm,
Um, and so that has me thinking, okay, now what about those David and Goliath moments?
mm,
What about when you find yourself in a moment where you're like, oh, this could be a big connection. I don't even know how to go about it. And maybe it's not. How do we approach going for the big fish,
mm.
to try to make the connection for you? And I do have a story I want to share.
okay.
Um, it's not my story. Not my
Nah.
story. But something that did help me, and it's a Kevin Hart story.
Okay.
Actually. It's from an interview that he did, and it was talking about the time where he was at the restaurant. He was at a restaurant, he was with his wife, and he was with a friend. And I'm going to be paraphrasing this whole story. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to tell it word for word verbatim. But he was at a restaurant with his wife, with a friend, and as he's sitting there, he looks across the restaurant and he sees bald head dude, kind of fit, goes by the name of Jeff Bezos.
Mm.
Uh, and he said, "Wow, oh my God, is that Jeff Bezos? I want to go talk to Jeff Bezos. I want to meet Jeff Bezos. He's at the restaurant." And he said, so his friend told him, "Whoa, like that's Jeff Bezos. Really important guy. He's probably just out here trying to enjoy his lunch, enjoy his dinner, or whatever it is. Like, let's not be those people that go up and bother him at the restaurant." And he looked at his friend and said, "What do you mean? Let's not go talk to him. Jeff Bezos is in the restaurant. I'm at least gonna put myself in a position to talk to Jeff Bezos." And so he said what he did was he grabbed his wife and he walked over and he said, "Hey man, uh, don't know if you heard of me. I'm Kevin Hart, but I just want to let you know that I'm a big fan of I've seen, everything that you do. I love what you do. I love your approach to things, and I just wanted to you know, say, show my gratitude or share this love with you really quick." And then shook hands, whatever, and he walked off. And he said that actually turned to now later down the line, if I run into Jeff Bezos again, I've had that introduction with Jeff Bezos. I didn't
Mm,
have to try to talk to him and ask him for something then, but next time I ran into him, you remember that time at the restaurant.
mhm,
And that was something that was huge to me because it was just genuine conversation. I'm just coming up, I'm going to show you love. And
mhm,
maybe one day down the line, you'll remember the love that I showed you, and you might show me some love as well. And so that was something that really helped my mentality towards like why am I saying let's not be that kind of person? You see the opportunity in front of you, find a way to go do something with that opportunity. Don't say that it's not something I should be doing.
yeah.
And so,
I
but
got one I want to share, and this is about me, right?
okay,
And I was trying to figure out how to tell this story, and you just helped me tell the story. I think one of the things that we mentioned is, I mean, going into this whole networking thing, don't go into it looking for immediate gratification. Don't go into it looking for an immediate connection. Don't go into it expecting that when you meet somebody, they're gonna put you on a pedestal or put you in their phone or give you their phone number or make an immediate connection. But it's all a part of a greater good. It's all a part of a bigger story. It's all of a part of the woven fabric of a larger life. Okay, I'll put it that way. I remember I arrived in Houston, Texas, at the airport, um, and I was walking toward the exit, and I saw somebody at the corner of my eye that looked familiar, and I was like, "Wow, this that guy, right?" I was like, wow, it's that guy. And I was like, you need to go say something to that guy. And it was right after I had published my last book, right? And I had one in my backpack. And I was like, nah, I ain't gonna bother that guy. I'm gonna go. And I walked out toward the door, get ready to step out, and something hit me in my spirit again, say, you need to go give that guy your book, right? And I was like, all right, cool. So I turned around, I went back over, I said, hey, how you doing? Are you that guy? And he said, yes, I'm that guy. I said, well, you know what? I want to introduce myself. My name is Clarence Brown. Some hit me and said that I needed to give you a book. And he said, good, let me give it to me. I'm gonna read it and I'll let you know what I think. And so I pulled the book out my backpack and I gave him the book. And then I was gone. That was it. That was the end of the conversation. It's been 6, 7 years since it happened, right? No return on investment for me, but I trust the network, right? And so I trust that I was given the push to do something and I did it. And it fed into the fabric of the greater good.
Yeah.
Right. And it still was a networking opportunity. I introduced myself to that guy, and that guy was receptive, received what I gave him. And so when you ask yourself about the David and Goliath moments, I still think everything still applies. I mean, if you look at it as an opportunity to feed it, you did it great. I guess on the side, feed into a network, into a woven fabric, and not necessarily looking to feed into this, then you take every opportunity to feed into the universe. And so the networking universe.
And that takes a lot of that pressure off of you too, because it's not always about let me sell myself right now in this moment. Now, always be prepared to have that conversation if it goes to that place. Say you gave him the book and you started to walk away. He's like, wait, but tell me about it. Tell me XYZ. Or this is your book. What do you do? Like always be prepared for that conversation, but also be just as happy and just as content with I felt the need to do this. This opportunity presented itself. I just took advantage of the opportunity, whether that's for it to show a return on investment right now, or maybe this changed somebody's life that I'll never meet.
There you go. Yeah.
You never know. It could be something that wasn't meant to circle back to you, but you really got to take advantage of that opportunity. And you could feel good and feel proud just by the fact that you stepped up to the plate to do it. It's not always about I stepped up to the plate and I immediately put something on the plate and got fed.
Right. Just to see.
Yep. Planting seeds. Planting seeds.
And it could be 15 years from now, that guy, something comes from it. You never know.
That guy's getting bigger and bigger. That guy, he really is.
Of course, you didn't have to sign the book because the book was from you and your information in there, but did you sign it?
I don't recall signing it. I don't think I stood around long enough to sign it. I don't think I did. No.
That's all.
Or maybe I did. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. I put my phone number in there. Now that I think about it, I think I did.
Okay.
I put my phone number in there. Yeah, I think I did.
Good.
Something that just, I mean, it's come around twice, and so I got to say something about it. And it's a future podcast, and it's about knowing your worth, right? Because if you doubt yourself, just like you said, I'm gonna throw a segue out there about me, just something real quick about me that spoke to what you just said, Trey. And it's about knowing your worth. If by chance he did turn around and ask me about it, am I then prepared to articulate that thing? And I know that more recently, I've been in a place where I'm being pushed to tell my story more, where I haven't been telling it before. And it's not even that I can't tell it. I just did not put the value or importance on the story that really lie there. And even when people ask me about, well, what do you do? And I downplay what I do, right? And so this whole networking thing, it kind of brings to bear when somebody asks you what you're doing, you really do need to be able to articulate what you do. You really do need to be able to articulate the value that you bring to the world. But if you're questioning your worth, it makes you I can't even say a David. I'm thinking more like a grasshopper in their eyes type of situation. You know what I'm saying? It makes you look like I'm not even supposed to be in the restaurant. Like Kevin Hart. Like his friend was like, man, you ain't supposed to go say anything to Jeff Bezos. Kevin Hart said he eating in the whole same restaurant we eating in. So apparently both our credit cards are covered. So ain't nothing gonna stop me from talking to him, you know. And so it's just I think in the future we need to touch on that. It's really that whole knowing your worth.
I
I like
agree.
that.
I like that. I like that. So that sounds like that's going to be our next episode potentially.
May very well
Hmm.
be. I mean, have to stick around for episode number 6. Knowing
Yeah.
Hmm.
your yeah.
Absolutely. I love that segue. I love that segue. Um, but yeah, this has been a great conversation. Like I said, when we were opening this up, we didn't exactly know where exactly we were going to go with it. We just wanted to have this genuine conversation between the three of us. So we hope that everybody out there, you guys enjoyed this conversation as well. If you guys have anything to add to the conversation, definitely feel free. Drop a comment. You can find us on social media at Pre-College University. Say something there as well. We're all about interacting with the community, interacting with new people, and building up this network. And even past this idea of building up a network, we're really trying to build up a community where we all can just, be open-minded, free thinking, and have good conversation and grow together. So definitely feel free to tap in with us and let us know what your thoughts are. Again, this has been From the Desk of the Dean podcast. Thank you all for rocking out with us.
Peace.
Say yeah.